I maintained this pace for the entire first year of EC's life. I finished writing my master's thesis, continued to work with clients across the country, and stayed relentlessly focused on building my consulting business. And of course, there was the adjustment to motherhood and the joy of being with EC as often as my crazy schedule would allow. I am lucky to have a wonderfully supportive husband who filled in for me as much as humanly possible. But yes, it was tiring. There were a few too many nights when my hours of sleep numbered 4 or 5 instead of 7 or 8. A few too many jet-lagged evenings when I smiled at friends or colleagues over dinner table conversation without really hearing a word they'd said. By the time December rolled around again, I was running on fumes. I'm sure that family and friends, and especially Andrew, were wondering when I planned on slowing down, but in my own mind, the plan was clear. I can't stop now, I thought. I have to plan EC's first birthday party, the holidays are coming up, I have a thesis to defend and clients and employees to entertain. But occasionally, even I had to admit there were cracks showing in the facade. I recall Andrew staring at me in concern one day that December as I was rushing to set the table for a dinner party we were hosting. "You know," he finally said in a gentle tone of voice, "you've missed a few things this holiday season. Are you okay?" I was deeply shocked. I remember thinking, he says I've missed a few things. Is that possible? I don't miss things. That's not who I am. When the denial finally wore off, I admitted to myself that of course he was right. I'd forgotten to send a present to his grandmother in Kentucky. I'd forgotten to call our favorite caterer to plan the holiday party for Andrew's work event until 48 hours before the event, during their busiest time of year. I had even missed a conference call with a key client. With all these thoughts whirling in my head, I smiled reassuringly at Andrew, finished laying out the last place setting, and dashed off to tackle the rest of that afternoon's to-do list. Somewhere inside me I was wondering, how many balls have I been dropping? And if Andrew has noticed, who else has noticed? Am I really out of control? But there was no time to focus on questions like those. I kept going at full speed, or maybe a little bit faster. I made it all the way through Christmas, and then, on December 26th, I crashed headfirst into the wall of my so-called life. And that's when I found myself sitting on the living room floor, staring up at the twinkling lights on the tree, oblivious to the sounds of EC and Andrew from some other room in our house, aching with an inner weariness unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. This was more than just physical fatigue or sleep deprivation. This was soul fatigue. I'd achieved what I'd wanted, to keep my rich and busy life intact while being a new mom too. I'd proven I could do it, and there was satisfaction in that. The image of a successful woman that I'd always carried with me was that of a woman who was smart, driven, professionally accomplished, a Mary Poppins mom, a loving wife, a leader in the community, and someone who made it all look effortless with her calm, impeccable style. That superwoman was the gold standard I'd spent years trying to live up to. And in the past year, in some sense, I'd achieved it. But now, on December 26th, I'd woken up and realized I wasn't living. Not really. It wasn't just that I was tired of trying to do it all, tired of trying to live up to some bogus notion of success. It was my memory of EC's first birthday, 10 days before. As I sat there on the floor, I remembered watching EC blow out the candle on her first birthday cake, which was the size of a small castle, one of those telltale symptoms of working mom guilt. Isn't it amazing? I'd thought. I have a 1-year-old daughter. And suddenly I'd realized I couldn't remember a single significant detail or moment from her first year. EC was the single most important thing in my world, and I was living a life that left me fundamentally out of touch with her. Another memory popped into my head, a conversation I'd recently had with one of my closest friends, whose son had recently turned 10. "I only have 8 years left with him at home," she'd said with a sigh. "Only 8 more years." And now I'd just missed the first year of my precious daughter's life. Was I going to blink and find myself suddenly celebrating EC's 10th birthday, wondering where all the time had gone?